Let's be honest, the world of anti-aging supplements, it's a total jungle, right? It's all bold claims and crazy marketing hype. But what if we could just cut through all that noise with actual data? Well, a new report did exactly that. It created this super rigorous, evidence-based ranking of 30 popular longevity supplements. And today, we're going to walk you through it.
I mean, this is the big question, right? It's the one we're all secretly hoping has a simple yes answer. It's the promise that fuels a multi-billion-dollar industry. But for real, can a pill actually slow down aging on a biological level? To get to the truth, we've got to look past the flashy promises and dive straight into the hard evidence, the human evidence.
And here's the thing, it's so easy to get lost. For every one compound that shows a little bit of promise, you've got a dozen others with totally misleading claims. It really is a maze, and it feels like it's designed to confuse us. But the report we're digging into today, it's like a map. It's a clear framework for finding the truth, and it's based on one thing and one thing only: what the science on humans actually shows.
Okay, so here's our plan for today. First, we'll break down the evidence-based scorecard they used and see how they actually scored the science. Then, the main event, we'll reveal the highest evidence supplements. After that, we're going to bust some big myths, and we'll finish up by giving you a brand new Skeptics Toolkit so you can evaluate all this stuff for yourself.
So the core of this whole report is this really transparent scorecard. Think of it like a grade. Every single supplement gets graded from 0 to 100, and it's based on just one thing: human evidence. The whole system is designed to penalize, and penalize hard, anything that's just based on mouse studies or marketing hype or really weak analyses. It's all about what we can actually see and measure in real people.
So you might be wondering, how did they even come up with these scores? And the key thing here is, it wasn't just some expert's opinion. Nope. This was a super systematic process, designed to be as objective as humanly possible. So let's pop the hood and see exactly how they did it.
They followed this really clear 5-step method. First up, they defined their scope. They were only looking at human studies on supplements that measured aging-related biomarkers. And all a biomarker is just a measurable sign of what's going on inside your body. Step 2, they went hunting for randomized controlled trials, RCTs. Those are the gold standard, where one group gets the real deal and another gets a placebo. Then they pulled out all the hard data, applied that weighted scoring system we mentioned, and boom, they created the final list.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting. Check out how they weighted the score. The quality of the evidence, how strong the human trials were, that's the single biggest piece of the pie at 30%. And right behind it, you've got the effect size and how relevant the biomarker is. So what does that tell you? It tells you the whole system is built to reward high-quality studies that show a meaningful change in something that actually matters for aging, like one of those DNA aging clocks.
All right, this is the moment you've been waiting for. After all that super rigorous scoring, which supplements actually floated to the top? It's time to reveal the highest evidence tier, the ones that truly stood up to this level of scientific scrutiny.
And the #1 ranked supplement, based on all that direct human biomarker evidence, is
omega-3 fatty acids. Yep, with a huge score of 87 out of 100. Now, I know that might not be the super exotic, newfangled compound you were expecting to hear, but it's where the strongest human evidence is right now, period. So, why #1? What did omega-3 do to earn that top spot? Well, here's the crucial piece. There was a large human RCT that showed it had a small, but statistically significant effect on slowing down a DNA methylation aging clock. That right there, that's exactly the kind of high-quality, direct human evidence this whole scoring system was designed to find and reward.
And this chart? This pretty much illustrates the single biggest takeaway from the entire report. Just look at it. You've got a tiny number of supplements way up at the top, like omega-3 scoring an 87, and then a massive steep drop-off to everything else. The report calls this a high head and a long tail, or, in plain English, a few things have some decent human evidence, but most have very, very little. I mean, look at Fisetin down there, with a score of just 16, simply because the robust human trials on biomarkers just weren't there.
It's exactly this evidence gap that lets so many myths and, misinterpretations run wild. So let's use this report to get a little bit smarter. Let's dive into how we can become better critical thinkers, because this next part is all about learning to spot those misleading claims for yourself. Okay, lesson #1. Let's look at a classic trap the report points out using urolithin A as an example. You see a marketing claim that shouts, "Participants improve their walking distance by 60 meters." And you think, wow, that's amazing. But wait, The crucial question you always have to ask is, compared to what? See, in the actual trial, the group taking a placebo, a sugar pill, also improved. And the difference between the two groups? It wasn't statistically significant. That's the placebo effect, folks. The key takeaway? Always ask how the results stack up against a placebo, not just how much they improved from their own starting point.
All right, next up, a fantastic case study in how to spot weak science. You probably saw the headlines a while back about a supplement that reversed biological age by 8 years. Yeah, that was for calcium AKG. Well, this report flags that study as a masterclass in what low-quality evidence looks like. Why? Well, for starters, it wasn't even a real trial. It was a retrospective analysis, meaning they just looked back at people who were already taking it. There was no control group, they used a non-standard proprietary, basically secret aging clock, and my personal favorite, the methods were pending publication. For all those reasons, it scored a dismal 6 out of 30 for evidence quality. These are the exact kinds of red flags that should make your internal skeptic alarm go off, loud.
Now, this next concept is a little more subtle, but it is so important. It's what the report calls the biomarker function disconnect. So imagine a supplement does change a number on a lab test. Maybe it makes your telomeres a little bit longer. That's the biomarker. But what if that change doesn't translate into any real-world functional benefit? Like, you don't get stronger, your inflammation doesn't go down. That's the disconnect. The report has a great analogy. It's like tuning your car's engine so some sensor gives you a better reading, but the car doesn't actually drive any faster or more efficiently. The takeaway is huge. Changing a number in a lab isn't the goal. Improving your actual health and function is.
Okay, so we've busted some myths, we've looked at some red flags. What does this all add up to? Well, the final section of the report brings it all together into an actionable toolkit, a set of key principles you can use to evaluate these claims on your own.
Let's just look at this ranking one last time because this table really says it all. Look at that evidence score column. Omega-3 is way up there with a 28 out of 30. Then you look way down at the bottom. Apigenin and fisetin get a 0. A 0. Now that doesn't mean they're useless, not at all. It just means that, according to this report's really thorough search, the high-quality human evidence just isn't there, at least not yet.
So, here it is, your new Skeptics Toolkit, boiled down. Number 1. Always prioritize human RCTs. Number 2, be super skeptical of any change from baseline claim if there's no placebo comparison. 3, watch out for that biomarker function disconnect. 4, look for modest, believable effects, like slowing an aging clock by a few months over years, not some miracle age reversal. And finally, maybe the most important rule of all, in the world of supplements, an absence of human evidence is a massive red flag.
And that really brings us to the final and maybe most important idea here. This whole report kind of pushes us to reframe the entire conversation. We spend so much time asking, what's the best supplement to take? But what if that's not the right question? What if the better, more powerful question we should all be asking is, what's the best evidence? And what does that evidence really tell us?